Okay, so my name's Candace Evers, for those who don't know me. I'm the school nurse here at the high school and the junior high. Stacy just left, she's the DePort school nurse, and Ashley's here, she's the Blossom school nurse, Ashley Johnson. Today we're first thing we're going to do is just talk about SHAC, because we have a lot of new faces. So what is SHAC? SHAC stands for School Health Advisory Committee. It's a district-level advisory council that assists the district in ensuring that local community values are reflected in the district's health, education, and instruction. That's the definition of SHAC. It's mandated by state law, appointed by the school board, a voice for parents in the community, a way to share the importance of health to our district and the board. It reviews all health-related curriculum. Last year they passed a House bill that our SHAC committee now has to approve. Hi, come on in, come see anywhere. Our SHAC committee has to approve the any health-related curriculum, anything to do with human sexuality or reproductive teaching. And so last year we approved the 5th grade puberty talk curriculum and the health curriculum that we use. So that's what our SHAC committee. If that ever changes, then it'll go through the SHAC to get the new curriculum approved. That's what that's talking about. And then it makes recommendations on health-related topics. Also last year, for the new faces, we got stock EpiPens for our campuses. So all of our campuses have stock EpiPens now, and we get those through a grant called EpiPens for Schools, so they don't even cost the district any money. And then we have the local doctor that signs off on our orders and prescriptions every year. So that was something that our SHAC committee did. So way to go, very good. Let's see. So the big thing about SHAC is, who is SHAC? A majority are parents of students and not employed by the district, so it's community-led, which is a good thing. They're made up of healthcare professionals, clergy, student representatives, which we have our 4 student representatives this year. Chris Baker, Chloe Gray, Caitlin Kornmesser, and Keegan Forty. So we're very thankful and very excited for them to be here. You're very important to our SHAC committee. Your input is valuable to us. You're the reason we're here. So thank you for being a part of this. I know it's like another board meeting to sit through, but it's very important. We do big things, and it affects you directly. So let's see. Then we have like the business community. We have a few business owners. Then we have school staff working in the 8 components of coordinated school health. We have cafeteria staff. We have counselors, deal with all the mental health. Let's see, law enforcement, which we'll talk about in a minute, and nonprofit health organizations like churches or other things like that. Sometimes we have the pregnancy center was part of it at one time. We have different people like that come and speak. We can, and school administrators. So it supports a whole child approach to the education and emphasizes a healthy school community. We want to be a credible, collaborative voice of support for the healthy children and youth. It facilitates parental involvement and mandates a collaboration on district goals. Utilize and make the most of our community resources and assets. So take what we have and make it better. That's pretty much it. So I kind of want to go over that so the new faces kind of know what we do while we're here. So the first speaker we have today is going to be Miss Lisa Clarkson. She's going to go over the wellness plan for our district.
All right. Well, I've got a few copies here of we have a wellness policy and school board policy. If y'all didn't get one, you'll need one of each, and then share, and then I'll be glad to get you a copy of it. All right. The one sheet there is the wellness policy. You can look that up online, school board policy. It's on our website. Now then, what we have to do is the wellness plan. This is a plan that helps us try to implement what the wellness policy states. And this was part of child nutrition, if you can believe this. This encompasses everybody on campus. It's going to be all the students, all the faculty. It touches on all of that. So this wellness plan was created by a template when we had to do it. So all the necessary components are there that are required. This came from, I'm sorry, what's that? Is there somebody sitting next to you? This template was created by the Texas Association of School Boards, so it's got this, what is on file now as our approved plan, which the SHAC approved in 2019-20. Some of these, if you go to looking through here, some of these things we may not have accomplished yet, but that doesn't mean it necessarily wants to be changed. We need to work toward that goal. We can't get rid of any of these things. We can add to it. But if we add to it and they come and review us and we're not doing it, that's when it can be a finding. This was actually reviewed last year. Every 3 years we have a review in the lunchroom. Texas Department of Agriculture comes and reviews our lunchroom. And this was actually part of the review. They looked at this to be sure that the SHAC committee had approved it, had a hand in it. And so what I want to have done is that for us to look over this and approve it as it is, or if you want to add to it, again, if you add to it things that aren't required, there's not a problem there. But we have to be sure that we're following all those rules. Because then if they come to audit us and we're not following the actual rules, even though it's not required, something else we put in, then that is a finding. So I always like to stay minimal if it works for you. I know that one school, they had a lot of trouble in the lower grades, with parents bringing food in, high sugar food all the time, and the parents were getting mad, so they put that in their wellness plan and said, here, we've got a plan, you can't do it. It's set up days. If you go through there and look, we have what I call cheat days on each campus. You can have 6 per campus. Say, for instance, we have a tournament at one of the schools, and they're selling things that aren't foods of nutritional value, then we can get by without getting in trouble for that. So like some of the parties that we have, they bring cupcakes and things, that's fine, but it's got to be, on the list, and each campus takes care of that. So what I'm wanting, and if you have any questions, I did want to mention that for food service, I didn't make everybody a copy of this, but there is a section in what we call our administrative reference manual. It's called the ARM. Section 29 deals with the local wellness. This is child nutrition. There are 31 sections, and this is what we go by. And so if you need to read this is actually at Texas Department of Agriculture's website for food and nutrition. It is squaremeals.org. And if you have any more questions or want anything about that, you can look it up. What actually needs to be in the wellness plan, all the specifics. I just want you to look over this, and our goal is to have this sent to the board and approved by our last meeting of the year, so that can all be together and we can have everything wrapped up. So next time when the auditors look, they can clap their hands for us and say yay. But so just look over this, and if I don't have enough copies, I'll gladly run some more and give them to whoever needs them. But the one sheet is what's policy, board policy. The big thick thing is our plan that we need to look over and see what we think. Now, we may not have met all those goals, like I said, but it's something to strive for in some areas. We might make notes, we need to work on this, or you may come up with some ways that help us do this better, maybe, So anyway, just at the next meeting, I don't know if that would be quick too soon. We might come back and discuss it. We can approve it then or not, or make changes. Then if you can't get it approved, if you don't like what you see, we can discuss it and go over it. Because like I say, everything in here is required, but we can make it to fit our needs if we need to. So that's all I've got, unless you've got some questions. Anything?
Our next meeting is the 16th of November, so it's like just 1 month.
Yeah, we can wait. I just, like I say, just so we can get it into that last meeting and get the board approval
Sure.
before school's out.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm after, so I'm not rushing anybody.
Yeah.
And I can make more copies if everybody, I've got a copy here if we need a, does everybody have a copy? Okay.
There's extras here.
Okay,
also.
good, okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because the wellness plan was stapled in, and the other page is
Yes.
just a single.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's the policy. That, you can look that up online in school board policy. That's straight out of our board policy handbook. But the other one has been created to implement the policy. And it was taken from a template that TASB recommended.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Clarkson? So we can look over that, and if y'all have any questions on next meeting, we can just take a few minutes to discuss any changes or,
and you can email me or whatever you need to do. Talk to Ms. Evers, and I'll get back, whatever we need to discuss.
thank you very much. Okay, so next we have, very excited about this. Prairiland's having a police department, this is going to start, and our future police chief, or are you official?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're jumping through hoops.
Future police chief is here, Officer John Berry, so I'm gonna welcome him to kind of explain what that looks like for Prairiland.
I want to throw my disclaimer out there first. I'm waiting on a phone call from a law enforcement auditor that I have to meet, so I may have to run. When they call, you got to get serious. But we are this close. Our department has been created. We've got our state number. We've got our FBI number. All we're waiting on right now is what's in that file to get me started, and I have to submit all of that to the state, so we're going to play the waiting game just a little bit longer. But we have hired 2 guys that are going to be appointed, and they're actually working for the district right now. None of us are commissioned peace officers right now. That's what this paperwork's for. And I've been doing backflips and jumping through hoops all day long trying to get this done, and we're very close, very close. But we're going to have, I will be here for now. The other 2, whenever they come on board, which they're already at the campuses where they're going to be, Deeport and Blossom. My idea with all of this is 100% law enforcement coverage 100% of the time. So that means you will have an officer from the time you get there until the time the kids are gone. And they're not leaving, they're not going to get lunch, they're not going to get soda pops at the store or anything else. They're going to be there to make sure everybody's safe all day, every day. You know, I'm sure y'all have a lot of questions. I know how all of this is going to work, but if y'all have questions, I will do my best to try to answer them. No questions?
You said the officers are at their campuses where they're gonna be, so y'all aren't gonna rotate?
Well, that was my game plan, was to let them rotate, and all of us rotate, because in my mind, I wanted to make sure that the officers fit with the people, and the people fit with the officers. And they were at those campuses for 2 hours one day, and then the next morning, bright and early, they're calling me, hey, we really don't need to rotate unless you think we need to. We are perfectly at home where we're at. So as long as everybody's happy, I'm happy. What else?
So there's 3 total, correct? So
There will be 3 total this year. We're hoping for more next year, but right now it's 3. So I get to cover 2 campuses and they get to cover 1. Sounds fair. It's all good. It's all good. We're gonna deal with it.
So when you say from the time we get there till the time they go home, what time are you talking?
Roughly 7 to whenever, 7, sometime after 7. Predominantly when the kids get there, when the kids go home.
That answers y'all question.
Now, I don't know what time,
We get here at 6:30.
6:30. Okay.
6:15.
Yeah.
We're gonna cover the sporting events. It may be 1, it may be 2, it may be all 3 of us. It just
Travel?
depends.
Are you gonna travel?
Maybe, but we're kind of leaving that up to the admin as to whether they think we need to be there. Because all your other campuses are gonna be providing security, and it just kind of eats into our resources if we don't need to.
How do the teachers get a hold of you if they need something?
That's a good question. Pretty much everybody is gonna have a phone number for the officer on their campus, and they just text them. That's usually the easiest way. Now, the big thing is, and what everybody needs to understand is, we're not there for discipline. That is not why we're there. Nothing even remotely involved to discipline. 2 kids are fighting, we see it, we're gonna break it up, and we're gonna take it to the admin. We're not gonna be looking to make cases on kids. That is not why we're coming over here. It is, our sole purpose is to make sure everybody's safe. And I found 2 of the very best trained officers that are out there. And those are the ones that are there. And they're gonna be really good at what they do. They already have been. I mean, they've been patrol officers, they've been detectives, they've been instructors, law enforcement instructors. Both of them are SWAT guys, so they're very well trained.
Tell me their names again, because he's been at my campus all week, and I'm terrible with names. And
Josh Garrison
Josh
is at Blossom,
Okay.
and Chris Mayfield is at Deport.
Okay, Mr. Garrison.
And that's, I mean, it's subject to change. And I mean, my big concern was the Deport campus. I don't want anybody going down there getting bored. And I don't think they will. I think they can occupy their time to where they're not gonna get bored. But if they do start getting bored, you may see me there. And I mean, I'll switch out with them in a heartbeat, because we want everybody to be happy. School, kids, them, everybody needs to be happy. What else? Nothing? Yes, sir.
Can I make just a comment? I know you, I mean, personally,
Yes, sir.
and at least one of the officers, and I know you guys are people of integrity, and I just appreciate the district. It means a lot for me as a parent, you know, to drop my kid off. I guess I'm overprotective of her, you know, dad, but anyway, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me, and you guys are men of integrity and upstanding in the community. Great reputation, and so that means a whole lot to me personally. I appreciate that, and your commitment to kids, it means a lot to me.
Well, what you just said means a tremendous amount to me, I promise you. When we started talking about all of the stuff involving the police department, I've been in law enforcement for almost 32 years, so longer than you guys have been around, but I've seen every kind of law enforcement officer you could imagine. The good ones, the bad ones, the ones that are in the middle, and we want the very best. I didn't go after the best that we could pay for, I went after the best. And whether I fit in that category, I really don't think so, but I know how to deal with things. And with these guys, the integrity is a big thing. The attention to detail is a very big thing. So they're going to be paying attention to everything that's going on. They're going to be moving They're constantly gonna be out somewhere where somebody is seen. And that is a very big thing in law enforcement, is the appearance. You wanna be seen, the presence. And they're gonna be in distinctive uniforms. We're not gonna hide the fact that they're police. It's gonna be in big letters across their back on their uniform. There's gonna be no doubt who they are and what their function is. But you're not gonna see people that are gonna be sitting in offices watching cameras all day. Because that's one kind of effective, that's not the kind we're looking for. We want to be out and milling, and the big thing is we want the students to understand that anything, they can come to us. So we're going to be pestering the students. That's prerequisite. Okay, y'all get ready. I've kind of just been around, and I mean, I've been asked like probably 10 times what I'm teaching. I'm not qualified to teach. I can instruct police, but not students, no. But we're going to give this everything that we have, everything. So we're hoping that we're never used. We really are, because for us, that's worst case scenario. But I can assure y'all, as staff and parents, we are prepared for worst case scenario. Whatever it takes.
I'm sorry to keep that. Will y'all have vehicles, or I mean, or how will that work?
Yes, we actually have 3 vehicles now.
Okay.
Because we don't have everything done with the police department getting us hired and all of that, we can't drive around in those cars if they're marked. So they're just white SUVs right now. We don't need anybody going to jail for a felony for impersonating a peace officer driving a marked unit, so we haven't gotten that far yet, but we're getting there.
Okay.
Probably within the next couple of weeks, you'll start seeing the cars show up. It's going to take a little while on the cars because they've got to have the graphics on the side, huge letters that say police. We're not hiding it. Those are going to be our billboards. They're going to be out in front of the schools. They're going to be moved around. Very visible, very visible. Then we got to worry about lights, because the agency that governs everything to do with police departments, they say you have to have lights on. We hope we never have to use those lights, because we don't want to be out dealing with that. Our focus is the campuses, not what's going on in the street. That's the sheriff's office. So. But they say we have to, so we'll be waiting on that too. But everybody's going to have a car. Y'all will see mine up here all the time, because I'm not going to be driving it home. The other 2 will. And it's not just going to be sitting in the same spot. How many's driven past Chisholm in the last 2 years? Yeah, at least 2 years. I don't think the car's moving. It may have, but every time I go by there, it's in the same place. It's not going to be, it's not going to happen with ours. I will probably park right back here every day, and when I get in it that day, I'll move it somewhere. Somebody's going to know it's been moved.
How will you coordinate with the current guardian thing now?
We're going to actually work with training on them. We're working on getting radios, so they have radios and we can talk to each other. But the big thing is training them so they know what we're going to be doing.
Right.
We're not real concerned about what they're going to be doing, and I don't want that to sound bad, but they need to be on the same page with what we're going to be doing. And reason being is, if something bad happens, we don't want any mishaps, nothing. So we're all going to be going through the same training. And there's lots of code words, things like that we will be using with them that nobody else will really understand. And of course, they have no clue right now, because we haven't even talked about it yet. We do have big plans. Radios, the problem with radios is right now it's just like anything else that you want to get. Most of them are coming from overseas, and there is a timeline. And we're probably going to be making do with what we have for a little while, because the last check that I got on the radios was like 9 months. But, you know, you really can't worry about the technology because people have been doing this since
Just a couple of quick announcements before the
long
building.
time before radios were ever
yeah.
invented, so we'll make it happen. What else? Well, we're looking forward to getting started. We really are. I have, like I said, 32 years almost in law enforcement. The last just over 4 years, I've worked in a school and I've worked with kids. And by far the best thing I've ever done in law enforcement is get involved in the schools. The two that we brought on, I hate to keep using this word or this phrase, but they have drank the Kool-Aid. And they understand. I mean, it's what this is all about. And at the end of the day, the kids and the staff go home safe. That's rule number one. That's also 2, 3, 4, 5, and on down the line. And I know you guys don't know these guys, but I've known them for a lot of years, and they are fantastic people. And if they weren't, I wouldn't have stuck my neck out to get them hired. And because everything that they do falls back on them. So when I say I went after the best, that's exactly what I went after.
I like the way you described your approach too, because I think the kids getting used to you being around, that if something were to go down, they would know that, hey, he's here, I'm safe, like, everything's okay.
And that's what we want.
Yeah, it's not some.
Right now, I'm
stranger
just a
running.
guy.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy. I'm not a cop right now. I have a license, but I can't do anything. Now, rest assured, and I explained this to the admin, if something were to happen before all of this paperwork is done, I'll do what I have to do. And we'll deal with the trouble later. But we'll deal with it. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much for coming.
You betcha.
Anybody else have any questions for me?
No more questions? Well, if you think of some, I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere. Y'all gonna have to run me out of here. All right, with that, I am gonna take off.
Okay.
He's on his way.
Well, that was easy.
Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so that's very exciting to me. Okay, so moving forward this year, last year we passed out, which I should have printed that out, the most popular topics for SHAC committees, because we were just, last year was really my first year being a part of it, and the year before, when we all three of us started with school nurses, it was the COVID year and just everything was crazy, so we didn't really do SHAC. That's where we came up with the EpiPens, and another thing I talked, which you already left, I meant to mention it while I was in here. I talked to him, and we don't have to do this, but about Narcan. If that was like something that he thought was a legitimate concern, like, and I know we don't want to think about having drugs here. I know that's something we're like, oh, this is patentable. We're not going to have serious drug issues here. But he was telling me just even in the last couple of weeks that fentanyl is up on the rise, even in this area, which fentanyl is very dangerous for, and those of y'all who aren't familiar with fentanyl. When it comes in a legal form, it comes in huge quantities to where just one little molecule can really affect someone. Oops, sorry. It's okay. Anyways, little comedic relief there. It's getting all serious in here. But anyways, he was even saying, because I'd asked him, I said, do the cop cars carry Narcan? And he's like, not in this area, they don't. And so I thought about possibly kind of presenting that, seeing if y'all think that's an issue that we need to, we need to just check into, look into, see if it's easy like the EpiPens where it's free and all I have to do is get a doctor to sign off on it. Why not? Yeah, why not have it? I don't know the process in that. If someone wants to kind of team up with me and like look into that, get research what other schools do, if y'all even think that's something that we need to pursue. I don't know. That was just one thing that I was just thinking about. If anybody else has any other things that they want to bring up or talk about, or
I zoned out, I guess. What do you pursue what? Having that,
the Narcan, I was like having Narcan stocked here at school.
What does it do?
Okay, so Narcan, that's a great question. Okay, I just assumed everybody did, because everybody's a nurse, right? Narcan, it is a reversal for opioids. So, when someone ODs on opioids, it basically strips the opioid from your system. It counteracts it, it's an antagonist.
so if you have a kid at school that OD'd,
Yes, so if a kid is overdosing, or an adult, or someone here on this campus, it's inhaled. They have shots too, but we can get the inhaled. And you just squirt it up their nose. It's like a rescue drug. You squirt it up their nose, and it strips the opioid to where it makes it to where they're not respiratory depressed anymore, where they're not difficulty breathing and passed out, basically.
How long does it take to react?
Just a few minutes.
Second, yeah.
Yeah, a minute or two.
Is the fentanyl what it seems like people have been putting on car handles and stuff like that? Is that what that has been going
Those
around?
are vapes, like fentanyl.
Fentanyl is, they take like, and I'm not a drug expert, but they do like, you know how they lace marijuana and stuff with different stuff? Fentanyl is on the rise because it's highly addictive. So and it takes just a tiny bit of it to make you high or to make you get the desired
and it
effect.
takes a tiny bit to kill you.
Yes,
too.
a tiny bit to kill you. It's
I saw
extremely
something
dangerous.
last week that, like, I don't know if the pill itself looked like a sweet tart or if they had put it in a sweet tart or something.
No, they're making them look like candy.
Well, I know some stuff has been going around like in public where if there's like napkins stuck in your door handle or something that
Or on money,
don't touch it because it can like
Yes.
paralyze you or something.
or hand, that's right.
It can go through your skin.
Okay.
If you touch, because your skin, if you touch a substance, your skin, it can go through your skin.
Yeah.
Medicine can go through, drugs can go through your skin. So if you touch any kind of drugs, it's just like you shot up or ingested it or anything like that, it can go through your skin. So you gotta be extremely careful. I'm not saying that to scare you, but it is very scary. Fentanyl is extremely scary. You know, when we give it in a controlled set, like I worked in surgery for 5 years, we give it in a controlled setting, we're talking about micrograms is what you give. And that's to help with sedation. It's not like an everyday pain medicine. Does that make sense? So, Narcan, and I was talking to Mr. Berry, and he's saying sometimes it's taken 2 doses to get somebody. That's how strong it is. I mean, it takes 2 doses for it actually to work on some of this that's going around. And I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm just thinking if it's, again, like if it's something that we could have, why not pursue it?
So the fentanyl is a depressant, like if we came
Respiratory depressant, yes.
across a kid that was passed out, we could suspect that was it and give them, if we had the Narcan, we could give that to, and it wouldn't hurt them to give them.
No, it won't hurt anybody.
Because, you know, on the elementary campus, I just think about, goodness, what if it was their brothers or their parents or whatever, and they put it in their pocket, and then they're passing it out at school, or they take it, and, you know, I mean, you know, it's just scary.
Yes,
Especially when it looks like candy.
100%. And so what it would do is it would make your breathing super slow. You'd be unresponsive, and you would be breathing, 3-4 times a minute. That's when you would give Narcan. Is like when you see that kind of response in someone. That if you give Narcan to someone like that, it's not going to hurt them worse. Same thing with epinephrine. You give epi to somebody who doesn't actually need it, life or death, it's not going to kill them. It's like an adrenaline rush, the epinephrine is. So then we're not talking about something that could kill somebody if they accidentally took it. Narcan would just only help.
Okay.
I think adding that, when y'all added those EpiPens, I think that's a very smart idea, because I know multiple people with like allergies and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we've had one girl was eating those fruit snacks.
Yes.
And her lips were starting to swell.
Yes.
Did y'all use the EpiPen?
No. And then we were at the volleyball game, the football game the other night, and they were like, hey, so-and-so got stung, and I was like, well, let me go get the EpiPens. She was fine, but I gave her Benadryl and sat there with her, but I was glad I had them because, you know, it could have turned bad quickly. So just having them here is kind of, it just makes me feel safer. It makes me feel like, I mean,
Especially
especially,
it's important for outlying schools too, where
For sure.
response time is longer than Walmart or, you know, some of that.
yeah, we're not in the back door of,
Right, like literally at the hospital. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah, but even they have EpiPens because EMS isn't, they don't have a plugged thing right there. Even though they're that proximity close, it still takes several minutes for them to get help, so. Yeah, I called, I can't remember if it was 14 or 18 minutes when I called EMS
Yeah.
that it took to get out here. So that's a long time if you have the, so, I don't mind researching that if someone else wants to research that too. If y'all all want to, we can kind of crowdsource, kind of come up with. I mean, we don't have to have that as our first project, but that's just something I was thinking about, me personally. Because, again, we want to think that everything's going to be safe here. We're not going to have any drugs, but
For the response time in itself, like, I feel like we should have as much as we can.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and then, but that comes with training too, because that,
Right.
again, like, even with our EpiPens, that added some training, but it was a 5-minute training, but if our staff is trained and they know what to do, and I'm not physically there, they can give an EpiPen to somebody. The same way with Narcan, and we would just have to tack that onto our yearly training or whatever, but.
We're talking about the nurses having it, not the police officers, right?
Yes, it would be, well, see, that's another question, because EpiPens have to be in an unlocked space. So I put them in here, which I think at the elementary schools, they are in unlocked spaces, but my office is locked a lot because I'm leaving a lot. So we kept it in the high school office and in the gym over here. And so we have one in each campus. But I don't know about Narcan, I don't know if it's gotta be
Controlled.
controlled or not. I know Epi doesn't because, like I said, it's not a narcotic, it's not like, I mean, Narcan's not a narcotic, but I don't know what the control is.
I guess that just as long as that people knew where it was and how to
Right.
get to it.
Right. And it was unlocked. Like, I like the high school office because it's always unlocked, but there's control because there's always admin in there. Like, it's not like you can walk in the hallway and just grab it and run.
I don't think it has to be controlled, because I have patients who take oxycodone, and the pharmacist gives them Narcan with
Yes.
it, just in case, yeah. just in
Yeah, that's
case.
a new thing. I think it's a law that you have to be prescribed. If you're prescribed an opioid, you get an Narcan too, just for an accidental overdose. Like, a lot of older people get prescribed those.
Right. When I worked at Department of State Health Services, you had to be certified to carry the Narcan.
Oh, you do?
So check with them. I don't work there anymore, but I worked there for 4 years. And I took a certification class to carry it. But they may teach that class to get
So
whoever
who want to
needs
check
to be. Department of State Health Services.
Okay.
If you call the Paris office, it's Lee Holder is the nurse.
Okay, I'll call him and see if we can get more information. It's a good start, for sure. Okay. Does anybody else have any, like, things that they can think of that they would like to work on this year, issues? Maybe we can, for next meeting, we can discuss further. If y'all think of anything. Don't have big kids, but they're kids to me.
I just asked the police, one of the police guys at North Lamar if they carry it, he said they don't.
They don't,
But they're in town too, so.
you know.
Would it be a grant type thing, like was it the EpiPen? deal,
Yeah,
a grant?
the EpiPens are very expensive, but EpiPens for schools, it's through the pharmaceutical company, which I did look at the Narcan pharmaceutical companies. I think that's kind of a thing they do for schools, that they
Just provide it.
provide it if you get it approved. So the EpiPens for schools is actually through the pharmaceutical company that produces EpiPens. So they give them to schools for free, basically. So that's who I get it through. But it's very expensive if you were to just buy them. So I don't, it may be the same thing with Narcan, if I go through the pharmacy, or what am I trying to think of? The pharmaceutical company. Go through them.
So you just get a prescription for the school.
And we would have to write a policy, like we did with the EpiPens, have to write a policy for it, like who has it, who can give it, how we train, all that. And it has to go through the policy writers and all that, that's kind of a headache. But once we get it done,
Yeah.
Do we carry insulin? I like diabetics.
the diabetics all have insulin, and I have a care plans for them.
So do they have like their own stuff that you keep in
Yeah.
there?
They have their own stuff, they have the glucagon pens too, like if they're sugar drops, sugar drops. Which we have 3 diabetics, they're all really good about keeping up with it. And
We don't have any on our campus right now.
no elementary school campuses, I don't think. We just have high schoolers now, none at junior high. So, they're pretty self-sufficient. But, also if, so if there's any other things we could work towards for next meeting. Let me talk about the next meetings. So we have to have 4 meetings per year. That's legally what we have to do. So this is one. I figured we could do 2 per semester. So this is where I have them scheduled for now. If we need to change it, we can. But I keep them on Wednesdays Wednesdays at 2 in here because none of the kids leave on Wednesdays. And so none of the teachers leave on Wednesdays. So everybody's here on Wednesdays. So if that's, first of all, if that's good moving forward. Wednesdays at 2, so I have November 16th for the next meeting. And then 2 in the spring semester. So I have it February 1st and March 29th. And those would be our 4 required meetings. Now, if we needed to add meetings, I'm sure we could. But that's what I'd like if you want to throw those on your calendar. So our next meeting will be the 16th of November, 2 to 3. Karen. So who wants to help me with the NAR campaign? They will. Okay. We'll just kind of all, maybe we could look at that. Also, if you think of any other things that we need to discuss, just let me know. Like, and then something comes up, and we'll add it to the agenda and talk about it. This is a place, it's like I said, it's supposed to be majority community led. So this is the voice for our community to talk and to hopefully make Prairiland better. So when you're in the bubble, when you're in the fishbowl, you don't always see everything. So
I still have connections at DSHS. Do you want me to see if somebody can come talk to?
that would be
about
amazing.
it?
That would be amazing. If you could find an expert that is willing to come to our meeting.
Okay.
November 16th.
Okay.
See if they can come and just present it to us and see what we would all need to do.
Okay.
That would be amazing. Okay. Any other? Thank you all very much for doing this and for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you.